There we go. We're getting there.
Hi. You hear us?
Can you hear me, Richard?
I can hear you.
I
All
can
right.
hear you too, but I don't.
Let's see what we look like. Oh, now
yeah. It's
look at that.
Hey guys, we're getting it done.
Working.
We got two screens.
Oh no,
No.
we lost audio. Let's see what we look like. Oh, now
yeah.
look at that.
Hey guys, we're getting it done.
Working. This is
Okay.
There we go. Now
There we
He
go.
likes that.
All right.
Got it.
New setting. Learn to. Hey guys, just so you know, we tested everything an hour ago,
And it was so
and
funny.
it was running flawlessly. And then you come back to go eat dinner. You come back, and Gremlins tech.
This
Okay.
looks great though.
So right on.
Happening.
Awesome.
Okay. Cool. Are we good?
We're good.
I think
It's
we're
not
good.
showing up on this screen yet, so I'm a little confused. Oh.
I'm watching it on my phone.
Okay.
Cool.
Good. Cool.
What's it like to look at yourself while talking to yourself while
Weird. It's very complicated and confusing.
watching yourself? There's a whole Jim Gaffigan sketch about that, working out at the gym. I go to the gym to look at myself while working on myself while looking at myself.
That's the last thing I want to look at when I'm working out, though.
Me too.
I
I'm
can't
known as
hear.
that sweaty guy. I can't either. I just took my headphones off.
Is that sweaty hair struggling?
Oh.
Yeah.
So I think it's,
Look like
I
it's
can do
on.
that from there. And
Okay.
yeah, so we're ready to rock.
Well, then I'll take my headphones off too. Okay.
Wait a second.
Not on.
Oh, and maybe. Oh, I don't think it went to the normal page. Wait a second. Let's just see.
Oh, did it go somewhere else? Is that what's
Yeah.
happening?
It went just straight live. It didn't go to that the link that you did.
Oh.
I don't
man.
think.
No, man.
I don't know. I'm not
Well,
too
it's
sure.
not showing up on the computer. But wow. I don't know if it matters.
So it just went straight live. Okay.
Yeah. We can
Okay.
roll with it because we don't know how to deal with that otherwise, right?
No, we're there. We got
Oh
90
man, that thumbnail needs
thumbnail
to
needs a little help.
change.
No, I think it's fine.
Oh wow,
great.
guys.
You got 92 folks watching.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You-
Sorry about the 83 folks waiting on the other link.
Oh yeah. Can you move them over?
Is there a way to do that? Yeah.
I will
Still
have-
sort
I got it. I got it.
of- Thank you, Richard.
So while we're working on that, I can see Paxton Ellis. Zoom is junk. Well, maybe. Thanks, Paxton. Let's see. How are things during the COVID-19 lockdown? We're doing great. Things are good here. We're keeping our usual routines, working out in the mornings, breakfast at 8 in the morning. Everybody's got to be there. If we're late, it's 10 minutes, it's 10 push-ups per minute late. And today I had to do 20 push-ups again.
You did.
I did.
That's
It was
awesome.
nice because the boys were like, "Oh, Dad, you don't have to do them." I was like, "Oh, I have to do them."
Oh yes, you do.
Yeah, I can see where you're going there. We didn't make you do it, Dad, so no, I don't have to. I could just see the angle,
Yeah.
so I made sure I did it. It wasn't pretty. I must be getting old because my joints are super stiff in the morning. I got to do 20, 30 push-ups and about kill me. So, but we're doing great. Everything's doing good here in Bozeman. We're here at the X Hangar upstairs, enjoying a nice evening with all you folks. So,
Can everybody hear us okay?
yeah, and
How about
if you
Richard?
can, like, come in and just let's see where everybody is coming in from. Like, I see some Spanish folks. Brant asks, is it snowing in Montana? It was about 10
Always.
minutes ago. It's been snowing for 2 days.
Always snowing. in
None of
Montana.
it's sticking on the ground.
Hmm.
Got a guy, Paxton's from Florida,
Oh,
loud and clear in Virginia, North Carolina, California.
Rose
Sounds
Bear-
great on both screens. That's good. New Zealand, Alabama, Texas, Iraq, Welcome, everybody. Arkansas, New York. Man, this is awesome. I love seeing where everybody's at. It's truly a global crew out there that tunes in for into Expedition Overland, and we really thank you for that. That's cool. South Korea, Logan, Utah, Fort Benning, Columbia, Tennessee. Cool. Great.
Richard, how are you? How's things on your end?
We're
How's it
good.
going?
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Right on. I'm seeing a lot of folks saying that they can hear us loud and clear on both screens. So
Yeah,
that's
and Nikki just sent everybody over from the other, or also sent everybody over from the other.
cool. We'll start
Thank
seeing
you,
them coming
Nikki.
over. Yeah, we had,
Sorry, guys.
yeah, boy, what a thing.
I did my best. I went to nerd school today.
And
and I
Shelly
was-
spent like 4 hours trying to figure out how to make all of this work this way.
Yeah,
So-
my brain's like mush, and it still didn't. I will get it. I will get there. I will figure it out.
Shoto, Oklahoma, Cookeville, Tennessee,
Awesome. Cool.
San Jose, California.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay.
So shall we begin?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
This is the first of probably several that we'll do. And to me, these are all continuing to be run-ups for a potential podcast that we're working on for Overlander Podcast. And tonight we have very special guests, Richard and Ashley Giordano.
Hello.
Hello.
If you're not familiar, Richard
Thank
and
you for
Ashley have been a part of our team for a couple of years in spirit and in physical. Because for years you were like, you just kind of had our backs, and you were part of the team, and then you came on as for social media.
Yep.
Which if you're out there and you're watching and you like the social media of Expedition Overland, is this man you have to thank. He is just
Yes.
and Ashley does quite a bit of it too. Backing him up.
And if you don't like it,
His crew is making the socials happen.
yeah. So I'm usually the one you're speaking to. It's not Clay, but I can always speak in Clay's voice.
Yep.
Worst case
Just
scenario.
pretend it's me.
You've got it down pretty well.
But you got Richard on the other line.
Yeah. Sometimes I speak to myself.
You do. I love
That's
those.
the glory and Expedition Overland.
That is the best. If you ever see him going back and forth between Expedition Overland and Dust to Glory, it's just Richard talking to himself.
I love it.
So
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
well, tonight is let's see, what day is it? It's
15th, Wednesday.
15th of April,
Tis.
7:15 Mountain Standard Time, and life's good.
Life is good.
You know, all things considered, life's good. You know, we're here, we're on the internet, we're talking to folks, and we just had Richard and Ashley come back from a really big trip into Tuktoyaktuk, the Northwest Territories up north, and come back just in time before the COVID thing really came to a lockdown. We barely got in by the skin of our teeth here.
Yeah.
Got that done, and for the last 2 weeks, we've been working on the edit of the 5-part series for the Arctic Solo. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I think we should hear. I would like to know, because there's probably a lot of people out there who don't know your guys' story and how you, like a snippet or short story of how you even got into overlanding in the first place, because you guys have a really cool story. And we'll start there.
We have a story.
You have a story.
Where do we start?
2013
Okay, so it was April 2013,
or so. Mhm.
more or less.
Mhm.
And we had just got back from a trip we went to Jordan and Israel and Turkey.
cool.
And we'd done a bunch of backpacking before, but that was really the trip that kind of set it off. We got home and we realized we wanted to do something a little different. And I'd been reading all these blogs of all these people traveling on the Pan America Highway. And we thought this would be cool, but I kind of just like put that in the back burner, never really thought about it until one day Ash texted me and she's like, we need to have a chat. And I was like, what's wrong? I was like, do you want a divorce? Do you want babies?
It could be anything.
What is it?
Be anything.
Like neither of those
I was like, neither of those
things.
things. But we met for coffee, and over a course of like 30 minutes, decided that we were going to figure out a way to rent out the place that we owned in Vancouver and quit our jobs and organize our life and build a truck to leave as soon as possible and go on a trip. So 5 months later, we had a little 90 Toyota pickup built up, and left for, at that point, we were supposed to go to Panama and back,
Yes.
but we ran out of money in Costa Rica. And we also realized that we wanted to go all the way down to South America.
Nice.
So, yeah, so at that point, we parked the truck in Costa Rica at a government bonded warehouse and flew home and worked for a year and lived in a 400 square foot apartment in Vancouver and just saved as much money as we could and spent as little as we could.
We kind of had an idea of how much we needed to, well, okay. So we knew how much money per day we were making, and we knew how many days on the road that would get us. So we were really motivated, and we could see it on paper, and we had already traveled. And so it made it easier to be able to be really committed to it. I don't know that we would have been able to do that before we left.
No way.
We were a lot more regimented with our money
We easily,
management after we
yeah.
got back from the first trip.
we easily saved 4 times as much a month after we left and we came back.
Right. So
Wow.
yeah, we just like hustled for almost a year and then went back down to Costa Rica and then drove from there to Ushuaia.
That's amazing.
Quick shift in between.
I remember watching your Central America, and then we met you just after you got back from Central America at the
Yeah.
Northwest Overland rally.
Mm-hmm.
We were both giving talks, and we went to each other's talks.
Yeah.
And then you saved and saved and saved, and then I remember you going back to South America, and I followed you the whole way. That's where we found out about the Lagunas route,
Yeah.
and things like that from your guys' postings, and like, oh man, we got to go there. You know, it scratched that like, ooh, you know,
Yeah.
put that on the list. We got to do that in Bolivia, and so yeah, your travels and your things came back and inspired things that we went on to do.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
That's how it
fun.
works.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. And I love that you two just dove in without having everything figured out.
We knew nothing.
Yeah.
Truck, that
We
you-
had never spent a night in our rooftop tent until the day we left.
that is
We
awesome.
actually didn't know that about overlanding when we left. We didn't know that it was like this thing. We just had we're like, well, this is just what
Yep.
people we follow take, like a really old truck and they
Yeah.
sleep in the back or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, so everybody we followed either had a
That's funny.
first gen 4Runner and they slept in the back of it, or a 60 series Land Cruiser with a rooftop tent. A couple of our friends took our friends now, but people we had read about on their blog took a 67 Volkswagen bus.
So we'd like never seen a Unimog except for, actually, I don't think we ever saw one before that.
No.
Or we didn't see all these tricked out overland vehicles until we started traveling and running into Europeans. And yeah, it was a learning experience for sure.
Yeah.
that's really cool. So all of you out there, you can know that when you're watching Richard and Ashley go on the Arctic trip and do, you know, trips with us, you know that they come from a super authentic place. You know, they came from doing it on their own, within their own means, within the means that they had, and have gone and seen so much of the world that so many of us wish we could go see that much of the world with how much these guys have traveled. So it's really inspirational. So fast forward last year, well, an Overlander series, you kind of popped in a couple times. That's when we were first getting going, and then getting trained up, and then the Great Pursuit series. And that's when you guys really ramped up with XO.
Yeah.
Last year, being on the whole trip, both sections, all 3 sections. I can't even remember 3 sections now.
Yeah. 2 trips, almost 2 parts.
Yeah, and now this year we have launched this new solo series, and the Giordano's were our first pick to be able to go and do a trip like this in a new series. So let's dive in a little bit about what solo is. A lot of people are probably like, what is this? This has taken quite a bit of explaining over the years, or over this year, because it is somewhat of a new concept of a series. So the idea is one vehicle, one mission, infinite adventures. You know, we've got one. In this case, you guys took our 2016 Tacoma, the Expedition Overland X3 Meridian, and we upfitted it for your trip. And then it was 2 people, only 2 people went to the north. We have got 2 other series queued up right now. One we are wrestling with due to the coronavirus shenanigans of what's, you know,
What borders are closed.
What borders are closed and what's open and where they're going to be open and when and all that. And then we have mine. I'll be doing one later this season when it becomes prudent. So anyway, the idea was that we would be able, now Expedition Overland has reached a point where we can send other people out
Mhm.
and they have the skills to tell a story. And it's going to be a little different because it's only 2 people and it's not a crew of 7 or 8 people with 3 trucks and big drones and all that stuff. So you'll see it shift a little bit there. But that's the idea. It's just 2 people or just 1 truck going out and tackling big projects. And the Arctic trip was a big project.
Yeah.
So well done. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So much warmer here.
It's so warm in here.
And I would add to that, it's not a new idea to everybody else. This was new for EXO
Mhm.
because of people have seen us throughout the years. We're usually 3 trucks, 7+ people because we're doing a big production out of it. So this is definitely a new thing for us. And a lot of it comes from you guys, the audience, asking us to do more trips like this. So this is kind of where this idea fleshed out. So,
And it has the ability to, in time, we'll be able to put out more content faster.
Yep.
Around these types of trips with YouTube in mind in particular. And then a lot of the current series that we have will all be on Amazon. But yeah, that's kind of the basis of all this. So let's talk about your trip. You leave from the X hangar, you're gone for a month.
mhm.
Now you're still in Canada.
We are Canadian.
Yeah.
You are, they are Canadian. And I think there's a truck back there.
Can't
I
really
think
see.
I just saw it back there. Yep.
Brother family member.
Just big X on the side.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think too, it needs to be noted that this ultimately, you guys came to us with this idea first.
That's true.
So
I think people need to hear this.
yeah.
I think so too.
So this was around Christmas time last year and kind of talking about game plan for this year. And we were talking about Brian and Megan's trip and it sounded very warm, very inviting. And for some reason, I was like, what's the opposite of that? I was like, we'll go north, somewhere cold.
And we wanted to do this trip
Yeah.
already, so
Yeah, I felt like
Yeah.
I just thought it would give it a little bit, be more interesting if we did it in the wintertime.
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So it
Well,
was cold.
It was, yeah. And interesting.
Yeah. So it was fun. It's beautiful with the snow covering everything along the way.
Yes. Yeah.
So, no dust on the Dempster.
The truck looked a
No
lot.
mosquitoes.
No bugs.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
bugs.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
What was the coldest temperature you encountered up there?
Coldest we camped in was minus 33 Celsius.
Celsius. Okay.
I think what
That's
was
approaching the
Yeah, minus 40 that you meet, right? So
minus 40. Yeah.
yeah,
I think what was the coldest?
it was minus 35. So just
Yeah,
slightly
35.
colder.
There was there were 1 or 2 days there where due to wind chill, there was a frostbite warning on the
Government website?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
government website. So we're like, ooh, better not get out of the truck for too long.
Well, we all were sitting in the room here and about everybody came and were like, this is my wildest idea. And then we just decided, okay, we don't even want to hear any of the other ideas. We only want to do your wildest idea. And this happened to be yours. So you may have anticipated that we'd say no and then work something out a little less, but no, you said it. Now you got to do it.
Yeah. Now
These
we're
guys
in.
jumped right on board. I mean, they really owned it 100% from day
Mhm.
one and got right to work with the planning and the logistics of what it takes to go to the very edge of the Northwest Territories in the middle of from March 1st to April 1st
Yeah.
was the target goal.
Hmm.
And then you kind of set up the expectations. You're going to be gone for a month, living out of the Tacoma, out of the back of the habitat, and then back here at Expedition Overland headquarters here, we kind of said, all right, Tanner and I got to work on saying, all right, what are these guys going to need to do while they're packaging and putting their lives away in Canada to go do this? What are we going to do to the truck to set them up for success in the Arctic? So we did an extensive amount of small things, not really big things, but a lot of small stuff. I think we could probably let some the folks in if they're listening here on some of those things.
Yeah.
The major considerations were obviously temperature and
Mhm.
what's it like to live in really cold temperatures out of a vehicle. So we addressed those things. We could dive into that. What other things did we?
That was the major thing, just maintenance, making sure that we wouldn't have issues on the road or try to
Yep.
mitigate the risk of that. Because that's it.
There was like food prep, but that didn't take very long. And paring down the medical kit from something that would serve a huge team of people to 2.
Yeah.
But it was pretty minimal. We didn't do a lot of planning before we left. I did some research, but not much.
Yeah, we had a general route planned and then
Yeah.
kind of, plan 2 or 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
That was
We
about
found
it.
over the years that that's a really good way to do it. Know where like big points are along the way that you might
Yeah.
want to go see, but don't overplan your trip.
Our schedule got messed up on day 1.
Yeah.
Yep, you'll see it in the series. Day 1, it goes wrong, and your
And we
plans go out the window.
Yeah, we were finding that even if we were going to plan to camp somewhere, the camping was so random. Like some campsites were either closed, obviously it's wintertime, or they hadn't been plowed, but they were open. So we couldn't really rely on anything.
Yeah, they're like logging roads, which are usually the way to get into the crown land. If they were either not plowed or they were like the main road was plowed and then there's just 5 feet of snow blocking the road.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were kind of running by the seat of our pants, which was great.
The usual.
Yeah.
Huge.
The usual.
And you get really good at it. And frankly, it's part of the fun. When we sit here and we want to plan our trips out, it's fun to like, and then by here I'll be, at this campsite, and then by the next day I'll be enjoying my cocktail at this campsite.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, right. It's okay to throw yourself to the whims of travel because you will find and have a really wonderful experience.
Yeah.
It can be hard to do that because you got to release control over the situation and go with the flow. But as soon as you do, a lot of great things can happen. And in your case, there's so many variables that weren't lining up that in the summertime of travel, you could rely on fairly, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Here, everything was a wild card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had a total of 12 or 14 days of wild cards that came up. So
Yeah.
just
I think too, you have to relearn to relinquish the control, because on this trip, I tried to control because I'm not in that habit of letting things flow. And, you want to see the things you need to see and be on a schedule. But every time that I try to do that, it's kind of like things happen. And so you have to relearn it almost every time you go on a trip, which is good.
I think the more you do it, the quicker you get at readjusting to it. But yeah, the first time you go out there, and even last year when I went on a quick trip, and I was like, oh man, it took me 3 days to kind of like start to break that tension inside from not being on a schedule, especially right now, we like get up at this time and, we've set ourselves on a schedule for good mental health, but then this is the opposite for also mental health while on the road,
Yeah.
2 worlds. So
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about truck maintenance real quick. We went through every fluid and made sure that they were perfect. We knew that as you got further north, that supplies and parts and things would be extremely hard to come by if something went down. So we did all of the basic precautionary things, all new lubricants. We didn't change the viscosity we just ran with the general Toyota recommendation for the Tacoma, ran fine.
Yep.
We did we treated a lot of things, like we put Loctite, or not Loctite, de-icer in locks and things like that ahead of time before you needed it. We went through a couple droplet things of those, and covered surfaces. We went on, I don't know if this made the film, but we went on Amazon and bought the thickest $18 Amazon yoga pad that we could find. And then we came in and we put it on the floor and put it on anything that you were going to sit on.
Yeah,
That was a
It
great.
was
Keep it
great.
warm. Did that work?
Yeah, did it work?
Yeah.
perfect. Made a world of difference. Yeah.
Did it ever come off or slide off or?
No.
Oh,
Awesome.
right. Hey, the
Cool.
we were wondering how it was gonna
Yeah.
live, but the 3M double-sided tape kept it on there, and
Yeah.
that also kept it from being a permanent installation. So
There was a little bit of moisture underneath it, I think
On the
once
bottom.
or twice, but I
Yeah.
just wiped it off. It was
Yeah.
fine.
Sure.
Throwing the alloy box in the back as a step, and then it's covered in ice, and you put it in the back of the truck, and it warms up and
Yeah.
melts.
You're like, oh,
fun.
great.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it freezes, so
Yeah.
that was cool.
What other things we do for
goose
preparation?
gear rear seat delete,
Gear.
or like so the goose gear drawer in the back was great. Just kept all the cameras handy, and then all the batteries warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was key.
Yeah.
And then the heater, the Webasto heater.
Yeah. So Tanner mostly did a lot of testing on our Propex heater that we've had in there for the last few years. And good heater unit, built for fall days and kind of like the weekend warrior stuff. But we knew that it went through quite a bit of propane, and it was a little underpowered for that canopy size of the habitat. That's a big volume of air to have to heat, and the Propex just couldn't keep up with it in the cold temperatures. So we did do some testing there and found out that was lacking. So Tanner put out a question out on Facebook, our Overlander Facebook page.
Yeah.
And Chip from Webasto saw it, and Webasto jumped in and they provided us with a really bomber hot heater. It just involved some heavy modifications. We had to put a full diesel tank, a 5-gallon diesel tank under the spare location.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think it put out, I think that's rated at 20,000 BTUs of output. And like I used to be in the HVAC world, but usually like a small house furnace is 40,000 BTUs. So this was only half of that for
only.
Yeah. Yeah. This for a space this big.
Yep.
That's
It was
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I know it. How did it work?
It was great. So again, like
You did
coldest temperature we had was minus 33. And at minus 33, it kept it Celsius. It kept it at 10 degrees Celsius inside.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
And it was nice and cozy. You know, I would like go and sit by it a lot.
blowing hot air.
Yeah.
That's
But no, because
amazing.
then you didn't go into your sleeping bag chilled, which I find if you warm up before you get into your down sleeping bag, then
Yeah. We had
You
minus
stay
40
warm.
bag, those minus 40 Nemo bags.
those are awesome.
Yep.
Amazing.
Great in Greenland there. Very good bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think we put in a few other things. You'll see it in the series. One of the things that we went around on was tire choice. We were looking at, aesthetically, we were like, we should put a bigger tire on because it looked cool, like get closer to an Arctic truck.
Yeah.
It was never a question if we should go with the X3 or the ATX. It was always ATX. We drive our daily drivers here on the General Tire ATX, and it's stunnable. So it was a no-brainer. But we did think about going up in size, but we ended up sticking to the stock size.
Yeah.
How did that work?
It was great. Yeah.
Awesome. Actually,
Yeah.
we didn't slide around at all. We were driving on the ice roads and nothing.
Yeah. We were on either snow or ice from Dawson City north.
Yeah.
And then on the way back, I would say from Inuvik to around Jasper.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The way back, we had a lot of snow. There was a lot of snow on the highways coming back. So yeah. That was tiring. It was like the last day that the very last driving day that we had was the only one we had bare pavement on the way back.
Yeah. We're trying to do 1,000-kilometer days. And it's like,
Mhm.
come on. You can only go so
Yeah.
fast on this stuff. But
Yeah. Those are big days on those types of roads.
yeah.
So we have a lot of people that are just joining and hopping on. So Clay and I are chatting with Richard and Ashley Giordano from Dust to Glory. They just got back a couple weeks ago from driving the Overland 2016 Tacoma, codenamed X3 Meridian,
Yep.
all the way up to Tuktoyaktuk. and back. And this was in March. So they left before all of the COVID-19 stuff started going crazy and got back to Canada. And you're actually kind of, I don't want to say stuck in Canada because you are Canadian,
You're home.
but our truck is in Canada.
Your truck is,
Your truck here.
and our truck is at your place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got really fortunate there. We ran into a snag on the way up with the truck. You guys did, and it was something that, like, I don't know if we could have done much more research. We just had we had kind of just our own personal experiences of you driving our vehicles through the border and things like that, and it turned into a unique situation.
Not unique in the overlanding world. We've crossed many borders and had to do the exact same thing. I've just never had to do it between US and Canada.
US to Canada between Canadian residents and a commercial vehicle from the United States.
Yeah.
It really provided a very special piece of paperwork that needed to be filled out.
Yeah.
Long story short, the Canadian government doesn't want Canadians going to the US, leasing trucks and bringing them back into the United States or back into Canada. That's the gist of why that is. Yeah. But thank goodness they've been awesome with you guys, and they extended your permit, and that truck was there for a little while, so we can sit tight.
Yeah. Our first try could have been better, but the second try we rolled into a different border crossing, and
yep, that helps sometimes.
The border service officer guy, he just sat us down. He's like, "It's going to take me a little while because I don't do these very often," and he pulled out this book from, I think it was one page. The very top of it was dated something like 2016. There were 15 entries, and we were the 16th entry in 4 or 5 years.
And I guess the rules can sometimes change, and so it involved a little bit of research, which was fine because the result was positive. So
it worked out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But to start off that day one, we're like, what are we doing?
Like, what is happening with this trip?
We've never had day one be like, I don't know, it was a lot, but
it was a lot. I was watching you on the inReach going, oh boy, they didn't make it. Now they're looking for a campsite. Now it's 1 a.m. They're still driving. inReach says 55 miles an hour headed north. So, like, oh man, I just kind of laid there in bed going, well, I just said a little prayer for you, and I hope it goes well. And I'm just going to have to let it go. And then I crawled into my warm bed again. And,
perfect.
There was a little blizzard out there, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think it'd be great to answer some questions. Richard, you sent some over that you grabbed from Instagram and Facebook the last couple days.
Yeah. Do we have any people live right now? I was wondering if we have anybody live right now asking questions, and then we can fill them in with these.
Yes.
Additional from social.
I did see one asked us for what the tires. We were talking about tires there. He asked us what that tire size was.
25, 70, 17.
Top size of those tires.
But it is a 33-inch equivalent.
Yeah.
17-inch wheel, which is I'm going to get it wrong. I always do, because I ran 16s for so long, and then the metric, it's like scrambled in my brain. I can't get it straight.
But now, it's 285, 70, 17.
Let's see, I got it wrong.
Yeah. It's all right. I can just look back here.
Did you have to refill the diesel tank for your heater?
Sure did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. We used it a lot.
The average, was it once every 3 days or so?
Yeah, every 3 days, especially when it was minus 20 to minus 30, we had it cranked at night.
Yeah. So we estimated that you would get about 20 hours of run time out of. Is that about right? 21 hours of run time out of a tank or so. So yeah, you were running it even while you were driving too, right?
Yeah. So when we were driving, I would have it set for like 41 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna keep on going back and forth because it's the units. But yeah, we just had it just as low as it would go when we were driving. So it's a few degrees above freezing. Keep everything thawed out inside the cab. Yeah.
Well, especially at night, we wanted to utilize it as much as possible because the electronics were in the back with us, and so we just wanted to keep those warm so they were working optimally.
Yeah, batteries function better, and everything in the cold gets weaker and breaks. So if you can keep it warm, it's going to last longer. So
all right. Overland Pioneers asked, how much snow did you see this time of year up there?
Oh.
It depended.
Yeah.
It started warming up in Inuvik when we were there.
Yes.
One of the weeks that we were there, and
it was still quite deep, though.
yeah,
I want to say, I don't.
I wouldn't be able to say how deep it was, but I'm just saying they usually don't get much snow other than beginning of the year when it starts to cool down and it's hovering around 0 degrees, and when it warms up in the springtime.
Gotcha.
But I think I would, if we wouldn't be walking in it.
My mom's texting me. And said,
Tell her hi.
I don't know if you're watching this, Mom, but can you write it?
Get on YouTube
Can you
and
put it on
comment there.
She's asking all sorts of questions.
Yes. So if we would walk out, usually it was too deep for like, okay, if we were gonna like have a pee break or something on the side of the road, it was too deep to go into. Or, you know, we would sink down. Maybe it was
2, 3 feet deep.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, it did depend on the region we were in. I mean, when we were just outside of Jasper, there was hardly any snow on the way up.
Yeah.
We camped on bare ground. So yeah.
It was roughly what, 1/3 of the way up? Maybe
Less.
not quite half. Not half.
Let's say a quarter of the way up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy for scale, but let's give them some scale here when we talk about this trip.
Yeah.
Remember, we looked it up, and going from Bozeman, Montana to Tuktoyaktuk was the equivalent of going from Bozeman, Montana to where?
I believe it was Mexico City.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Or Cabo.
Or Cabo.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
a long way.
Wow.
We've done 9,600 kilometers from Bozeman to Tuk to here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a haul. Like,
Do you know how many miles are on the truck now?
a lot.
A lot.
The truck, it's under 100,000 kilometers, but I don't know how many miles are on it.
I think it should be hovering around 55,000
Yeah,
miles
makes sense.
on the Tacoma now.
Okay. Nathan Woodford asked, how did you keep your water thawed?
Good question.
Yeah, we kept it in bladders in the cab.
Yeah, so we had 3 MSR dromedary bags that were 10 liters each. And we would just move them around either the cab or the camper, depending on what was the warmest.
Yeah.
Did you use 2 or 3? Because you left using 2, and then we had a third one that was kind of in reserve.
We used 2. We never used the third one.
Okay, good for backup.
You probably should have, but.
Well, and the reason that we decided to go with dromedary bags, MSR dromedary bags, is because they can freeze and thaw and contract. They'll be fine. And then if you're not using them, you're not stuck with this huge jerry can that you got to stick somewhere that you don't need.
Yeah.
It rolls up and goes away.
Yeah,
So
10 liter capacity, and it rolls up to something like this size.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
And it definitely froze a few times.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Good to know.
Because sometimes we didn't move them. Whoops.
John Davison asked, how much daylight was up there that time of year?
Lots.
Oh man, it was wild.
Every day we were up in Inuvik, the days got longer by 8 minutes.
So by the time we left, it was still light at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah, they've already gone past that apex where their days are longer than anywhere in the southern part of the country.
Yeah.
It was so awesome and then we left, and now it's whatever it is.
Sun
now.
goes down at 7:50 now.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It is wild, isn't it?
That's
so cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you all use snow chains? Talk about that.
Mm-mm.
We didn't. We thought about it. We did consider it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, we're just like, no.
So we didn't need them. We didn't need to air down. All the roads were good.
Yeah, we were in 4-wheel drive for, I would say, 90% of the whole trip.
Yeah, 4 high.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
4 high.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yep.
I saw another comment that came by. It says, isn't this safer to do with 2 vehicles?
Sure.
And the answer is absolutely. It's
Yeah.
safer to do with 2
The more redundancy, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I think though we were expecting the Dempster to be pretty much desolate, but there are a lot of people out there, and I think because it's winter, everybody bands together, and truckers will help. There are a ton of truckers, going back and forth all the time. And so you're never going to be out there by yourself alone without help in case something happens.
Yeah. Anytime
And
we
we
stop.
had,
Yeah, it's okay.
we had the InReach and we had a sat phone. And yeah, there's no service, but on the dumpster.
Yeah. And anytime we stopped on the side of the road, everybody who passed us would stop and ask if make sure everything was okay.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they understand that it's winter and road conditions are harsh. And so, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was good. Yeah, we helped one guy replace a tire, or he didn't know how to change a tire, so we helped him change a tire. Helped a handful of people get out of the snow with Max Tracks, but so it was good. It was good. Yeah,
Cool.
That's some good
good fun.
This is a fun question. Gimpy03 asks, how did you grow as a couple from this trip?
Dude, let's get
Let's get
Oh, that is a good question.
Don't all answer.
Question.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know. Like I felt.
Share your feelings.
So on the Pan
This is
American
like-
Highway, I feel like we were just like on point all the time, and this trip was more difficult. Like when we were in the hab, the way that it's.
So when we were doing the Pan American Highway, the weather was always good. We camped outside.
Okay, we have a rooftop tent, so we were living outside,
Hmm.
basically. And we were driving all the time. We were together all the time. But on this trip, we only had that small space in the hab. And so every night we would go into the hab and Richard was like dumping data, and then things are over here that I need and things are over here that he needs. And he's like in my space all the time, and I'm probably in his space all the time. And
Good
you
thing we're not
can't
that
open
big.
the windows because it's too cold. And so I felt like the space that we were enclosed in was quite small, and I was kind of irritated more, but I don't think it impacted our relationship overall.
I think it's probably just understandable.
Yes.
Yeah. I was
Fair.
also really nervous about the roads. I don't know, like that much time on icy, snowy roads. I had a lot of anxiety. And so I don't think I was like the best person to hang out with for that much.
I think you were.
What
So
would you say?
no, well, I was okay, but so this was around 10,000 kilometers to do, but we'd already done 60 or 70,000 kilometers of driving between Vancouver to Ushuaia, then back up to Buenos Aires, shipped to Florida, drive up the East Coast, did the whole Canada, like East to West Coast driving, and then this. So this isn't new, spending a whole bunch of time together, but we did
So
spend
we
a lot,
haven't been on the road together
for a while.
So there's definitely a little adjustment period, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I can attest to your guys' marriage is that it's pretty rad. It's
Yeah.
really good. You guys are a dynamite team. And I think I see a very mutual respect between the two of you.
Mhm.
And, back in the day, some marriage advice that we got was marriage is 100%, 100%, not 50-50.
Mm.
My job as a husband is to be 100% for my wife all the time, not just to meet her where what she's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in you guys. You guys are 100% for each other all the time, and that pays dividends in tough situations and going through tough times. And so, you guys are a great example to many.
Perfect. And the bad
That's
example.
fun.
Well done.
All right.
All right. Look at this
Other
question.
questions that we pulled up from earlier from people on social
And
and stuff.
Duh.
yeah.
Wild Blue Family from Instagram
What those
asked,
guys are.
wonder who's there. What did you cook for meals?
Oh,
That's one part of the question. Maybe answer that question, then I'll move on to the other they asked.
okay.
Yeah,
We had high expectations for ourselves.
Yes, we
originally.
did.
Well, okay, we had tempered expectations, but even we dipped below those.
Yes. So I pre-prepped, I think it was 4 or 5 meals ahead of time. So I cooked a bunch of stuff, put it in Ziploc bags, and we put it in the freezer. and we were just going to reheat them on the stove in a pot and be eating relatively healthy on the road, which is always nice. And then the cold came, and we had some really long driving days, and it was either too cold to do that or we were too tired. And so we ate things that were faster to prepare than that. So something that would be cooked in a jet boil, for example,
Oh,
like a canned whatever.
Backpacking
and
meals.
Backpacking meals definitely had. And
Yeah.
man, we did not eat great breakfasts. We had this oatmeal sent out and stuff, but we were usually like, we need to hit the road, we don't have time, and we're like eating dried mango and I don't
Peanut
know.
butter filled pretzels.
Yeah, it was bad, but it was still like, it was fine.
Yeah, we didn't really eat breakfast or lunch well, but
Well, we got in the rhythm of it eventually. Like we forced ourselves to be like, okay, we have to stop now and make a wrap and have something healthy and or something.
And it's okay, it's not -30. We should probably cook some meals outside.
Yes. So on the way up, it was relatively warm again around the Jasper area. And so that's when we busted out the stove and had some nice, yummy chili or chicken or what I forget.
Curry.
It is amazing how long you can end up packing some of that food around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still
have some
some
left over
still have some.
because we froze
So great.
it all and put it in the freezer of the fridge.
Yeah.
And it's once it's in the freezer, we weren't worried about it
No.
going bad. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you even have to turn the fridge on, or did it just?
oh man.
No.
A lot of times, like here in Montana in the winter, you just put it in there. You don't even worry about turning your fridge on.
Yeah, we had it on for the freezer just because we kept the habit of
fairly warm.
fairly warm temperature, just above freezing constantly.
But a
But
lot of things did freeze. We had a lot of carrots and stuff that froze.
froze eventually. Yes.
We were running, let's see what fridge is in there. It's the National Luna. People are asking National Luna Weekender Twin, and it's like the big boy. It's
Yeah,
It's
it's
60.
nice.
I can't.
it's 60 some or 70. I'd have to look it up, but it is a cavernous fridge. You can feed a lot of people for days out of that one fridge. It's pretty awesome. I was thinking to our Central America, we had a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream that we were supposed to enjoy when we got down to the Darien Gap, and then it never got eaten. And I ended up giving it to a hotel lady in Phoenix when we flew out. So we packed this Ben & Jerry's all the way down through Central America, never ate it.
Awesome.
What else we got?
Wild Blue also asked, what was the most listened to song of the trip?
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know.
it was probably a Taylor Swift song because we went hard on that. And then all of my
Lover.
yeah, the Lover album, all of my songs undownloaded themselves from Spotify.
Oh no.
I feel like that was
There's a
it.
good stretch there where we didn't have any options.
So I'm sure like when everybody's or your crew is editing, we've got like the same songs playing over and over
Sorry
again.
about that.
But the way back we managed to
We listen to a lot of podcasts on the way
sort
back.
that out. Yeah, podcasts were amazing.
13 Minutes to the Moon is really good
Mhm.
by the BBC.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, dives in the last 13 minutes before the moon landing.
Apollo 11.
Apollo 13.
All 11.
11. 10. 9.
11.
11. Apollo 11. I'm just saying prime numbers.
It's funny. I can tell people have been in quarantine a while because the questions are getting so silly and ridiculous. I love it. Like it's questions people wouldn't normally ask.
Aw,
And I feel like that's quarantine talking. Everybody's bored.
It's good.
It is
I like
good.
it.
A lot of bathroom questions. So if you want to dive into
Reasonable.
that, because people are
Richard,
like,
how
how
did
in
you
the
go
heck
number 2?
did you do it when it was that cold or in the snow?
The biggest problem that we had was that usually there is a big area, what's the thing called on
Like
the
a
side of
turnout,
like
pull
a
out.
berm or something
berm, yeah.
in the summer. And so you can just wander off into the woods and do whatever you need to do, but that didn't exist. And so, yeah, I peed on the road a lot. Or bathrooms weren't open. You know, they have the rest areas, which actually
They had some rest
the
areas
Yukon
open.
was pretty good about that. They had their
BC was
restrooms
really
open,
good.
and BC it was further up that was harder. Or there weren't a lot of pull offs sometimes further north, and so you're like, oh, I guess.
Just right here, right now.
Yeah.
Just have to time the number 2.
Yeah, my
if you
body's pretty good
can.
at suppressing that until there's
For days
It knows.
until I start to sweat. Yeah.
That's a really good question though, because I would never have thought about that
No-
concept until
normal-
we actually got up there. And then I was like, wow, this is actually something that is, you have
Yeah.
to think about it and you have to deal with it.
because normally it's not a problem.
All these things that we took for granted on a warm weather trip,
Yeah.
it just like completely turned it on its head out there with
Hmm.
access to camping, like we were saying, and access to bathrooms and pullouts and all that. So
Makes a great adventure.
Yes.
Emil of Arctic Trucks and Scott Brady and I once were in a conversation in Greenland because it was very cold there. And we just decided, well, Emil brought it up that, hey, there's just something about the mental thing about having to do your business in the backcountry in the extreme cold.
mhm.
You know, and on Greenland, we had extreme colds. You had extreme cold when you had to go out and do it. There's something about it that when you actually go, literally, your brain like shuts it off and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Totally.
It's the weirdest thing. You think it's going to be terrible. You get out there and it's fine.
Yeah.
It is. It's something that's built into us.
Well, it's the
And
same.
then you get back in the truck and you're like, oh, it's so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing goes even on the lesser, like the warmer end of things. If you're not used to going outside, eventually when you have to, like if you're just used to being in your nice home with your bathroom and all heated floor all the time, and you're like, how am I going to go outside? When you have to go
Oh
outside,
yeah, you'll
it's
adjust.
just like, this is great.
Yeah.
I was meant for this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was made for this.
At some point, you're like, this is the best thing in the world.
You just wait long enough.
All
Yeah.
right. Rokon Montana asked, did you have to use the max tracks for yourself ever? Or did you guys ever get stuck ever?
We did not get stuck.
No.
But we were,
We didn't really take very many risks though. We were
Yeah.
pretty conservative about it.
yeah, because A, we're by ourselves. B, it's minus 35 out.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Those are the two things. Yeah. It
Yeah.
wasn't-
Enough
yeah.
said.
Yeah, we didn't explore too far off the beaten path. It was just far enough to get to a campsite and be secluded, and that was about it.
Oh, there's some really high consequences up there. So it's a
Yeah.
different game. It's
Yeah.
it's not going to the state park. It's another world of risk and potential catastrophic events that start to
Yes.
Yeah.
domino effect. If one thing goes wrong, another could, and it doesn't take long before there's a real problem.
Yeah.
And we
So,
really had to think about if there was a forestry service road or a long dirt road or something like that we saw was plowed. We're like, let's go check it out. But there was kind of a kilometer marker where we're like, we are not going to go further.
Yeah, there's like when we can't
'Cause
walk out.
Because yeah,
oh,
Mm.
how
yeah,
are you
good
going to
call.
get a tow truck there? Or how are you going to do this, that, or the other thing? How are you going to get the vehicle out if there's a huge snowstorm or, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we had to kind of do risk management calculations when we were
Yeah,
choosing.
yeah, because all it takes is it dropping to like super cold, truck doesn't start, heater doesn't work, and then what? So
There you are.
And you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that ever happen where you woke up one morning and the truck wouldn't start?
mhm.
Ooh.
Luckily, it was a straightforward fix. So
Yeah.
that truck has a
See in the series.
yes, but I'll tell you, it was simple. There's a SLE battery terminal extension on the positive side of the battery, and it was just a little loose, and it
Hmm.
acted as if the battery was dead, or you have like a corroded cable, or there's like corrosion on the battery. So all I had to do is take it off, clean it up, and tighten it back.
Typical Toyota fix.
Yeah.
If it's broken, it's probably something you did.
Yeah, 100%. First time actually the first time I didn't do that. First time I just went like this and touched something and it worked and we left. And then I fixed it when it got a little warmer.
Ashley Ward asked, what's one thing you would have done differently?
Yeah.
It's always a good question.
We have the same answer here.
Yeah, we do.
So we spent a lot of time in the camper, and so it was cold enough where again,
Please.
I don't know how to turn off the sound for my messages, so there's that. What were we talking about? So
She could text me. Text me.
yes. So it was cold. We were in the camper a lot, and we didn't have a lot of we didn't have that many opportunities for outdoor activities just because wind chill is crazy cold. So we were inside a lot. So a little bit more space inside would be good. So we thought taking the Prospector with the flatbed four-wheel camper would have been a
That would
good
have been
option
ideal.
for that trip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So a little bit more living space. Like, so there's always the compromise. You either have, because you always want when you're driving, you want the small, nimble vehicle, and it's great in small trails, and it's easy to get around town, and all these other things, easy to get out if you get stuck.
Yeah.
But when you're stopped, you want the biggest, most comfortable thing. So it's all
It's true.
But we
Yeah.
also wanted to see
There's
how far,
trade-offs.
yeah, we wanted to see how far we could push what existed already.
Yeah, out of the XO fleet, we knew we didn't want to sleep in a rooftop tent.
Mhm.
In some indoor living space. So this was the perfect option.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And I think to the date, I don't know of anyone else who has ever pushed a habitat, an AT habitat as far into those extremes as you guys have. I think that habitat is prototype or let's see, it's manufacturer number 001 is the very first manufactured habitat.
Wow.
And it is now gone to all kinds of crazy places, including this, which I don't think I've seen another habitat do this. So
yeah,
that thing's got some stories to tell.
It does. And just
Sure does.
one of the poles kind of needs to be fixed now.
Mario, if you're watching.
Mario, yeah, apparently it doesn't like 70-kilometer-an-hour wind gusts, I guess.
The thing.
Sorry.
Whoops.
Fair.
Like, gotta get it down fast.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, Daniel, I can't pronounce the last name, so it's just Daniel. What was more fun, a trip with just themselves or with the group?
Good question.
Oh yeah.
Choose
They
your
both have benefits. It's just such a different experience. Like we knew that we were both in charge of everything, and we're used to that from our trip before. But I think as a team, you're working as a team, so certain things drop off your shoulders in a way sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time I drove on an XO trip was. I'm usually in the backseat of the Tundra with a camera in my hand, ready to jump out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so.
But this is also the first trip that we've been on that we've filmed.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work, a lot of respect. If anyone's out there has gone and tried to shoot their weekend trip and come back and put it together in a series, it is an incredible amount of work. And these guys are having to do it at a professional level, push to the professional level as best as possible. You did it. You did it. We've gone through the edits. It's there. Yeah.
Yeah, let's polish her up.
There's a joke going around right now we have a meeting 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with all the editors. And there's a famous statement of Martin Scorsese says that if your first cut doesn't make you physically ill, then there's something wrong. And all of us were like, yeah, we're physically ill in these first cuts. And now we're getting through it and figuring out how to make that edit what it needs to be. And it's all there. So you guys did a great job.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little after 8 o'clock, and I think we can kind of wrap with one more question, but when we've talked about this as a company, but when do we think this series is going to air?
Yeah, so right now we're targeting middle of May. We haven't made an announcement official yet. I have to do that. I'll tell our sponsors and all that on an official date first. But I've told them that we're really working hard to get this done by the middle of May. Yeah. I made that announcement or said that a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of feedback came back, said, hey, it's okay if you wait. Just make sure it's good. So that was reassuring to me because I know a lot of people are waiting for this content. But there's a few things that we're working through because we do have more time and it's not being cut from the road like other trips maybe later this year. It allows us the opportunity to beef it up and build into it some more because we have the production facilities. We can build better maps. We can build a better graphic. We can do a better sound sweetening pass, things like that add and lend itself to, the best product that we can put out. Those things take time, but it's coming together really well. And I think our target right now is still the middle of May. Best answer I can give you.
Awesome. Cool.
And we'll push it if we have to make the product perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're looking at a once a week launch for 5 weeks. It was originally going to be a 4-part episodes, 10-minute episodes is the target.
Yeah, they'll be shorter than people are used to.
But even now, when we're looking at the edits, they're probably going to be between 15 and 20 minutes refined.
Shocker.
Richard's just laughing at that.
I told them
can't
all at
help.
the beginning,
I
I'm
know,
like,
she
there's
did.
no
Can't help
way
not
you'll
do
keep
it.
that at 10 minutes.
Well, there's just so much stuff, you know, and people want to watch it. So, and then what else? Yeah, it was supposed to be 4 parts. It went into 5 because the prep became such a big deal. We're like, this has to be its own episode. And then we're going to be producing a 6th episode of the production or the pre-planning that's kind of like uncut. We haven't gone back to this timeline yet, but it was currently sitting on the timeline of 30 minutes of just what we did to the vehicle to prepare it. A lot more of the details that don't make the actual. It's for everybody that wants to know all the nitty gritty details. So that'll be coming out. So we actually got 6 little episodes out of this trip, which is great.
Well done, guys.
Yeah. And just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time.
Just
An opportunity for
Yeah,
us to
absolutely.
do our crazy idea.
You bet.
I want to ask you guys one more thing because I know you guys had further plans for this year, but I'm guessing some of those have changed.
Yeah.
So do you know now what you're going to be doing, or?
So
No.
currently we're at Ashley's parents' place in Kelowna because before we left on this trip up north, we moved out of our apartment and put everything into storage because we had planned on shipping our truck and driving another couple continents.
Yeah.
But that's currently on hold for who knows how long.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
So
We will. Who knows?
to be determined.
We have no idea what's happening with our lives.
Mhm.
It's kind
Well,
of,
let's keep on keeping on. You got a home here.
Yep.
Anytime you need to get down here, as soon as
Yep.
that border opens up,
As soon as it opens up, come on down.
there's stuff to be done. So
everyone who opens up their doors to us for one night usually gets 2 weeks out of us. So
it's awesome.
You're great company to have.
yeah, until we're not.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight, spending an hour with us. Thank you for putting up with our technical difficulties. I'm glad it worked out. We got it working. This is exciting.
Mhm.
Let us know if you like this. Let us know if you want to see more of this.
Yep.
And thank you for your support. I do also want to say thank you to our sponsors who are continuing to support us through a tough year across the board. General
Yeah.
Tire, thank you so much. Patriot Campers, Warren, Icon Vehicle Dynamics, CBI Off-Road, Red Arc out of Australia. Let's see,
That's
a
so
lot of
scary.
great, it's always scary. Max Trax, we just had a great call with them yesterday. Just the support that we're getting from them is awesome, even though that they're seeing hits in the industry. So please, guys, if you feel so inclined,
Equipped.
Equipped Expedition Outfitters. Thank you, Paul. Help them out if you can. It helps them, it helps us. And that's how we're able to make this content and keep it free for you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you all. I hope you all are well. Your families are well. Have a great night. And we will see you again here at some point soon. Stay tuned.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yep. Stay tuned for Richard's post on the internets on when we'll do this again.
Yeah, sorry about the link. That was bad. I didn't know.
All right.
Sorry,
We'll get it figured out.
that was my bad. That was all me.
Cool. Right on. Ciao.
All right.
See you
Yeah.
on the
Thank you
internet.
guys.
Now I have to figure out how to shut this off.
I know this
Every
could be
time.
entertaining in itself. Bye. Okay.
Are we still live?
Yep.